Well, we've tried to learn to be creative, be original, think outside the box. Here's a challenge for you. Be creative, be unique by thinking inside the box. We're all sequestered. We're all home. Most of us are in a perimeter defined by our house or our yard. So we are, in effect, inside the box. Thinking inside the box. Hard to do.
As John Cleese might say, what's all this then? Well, this is a EOS 5D SR Canon camera. It's full frame DSLR, 50 plus megapixels, with a Laowa, that's Laowa, wide angle macro lens. By wide angle, I mean 15 millimeters. Now, not only will this show you the bug up close, it will show you the bug's world up close. At least that's how it was sold to me. The Laowa 15 millimeter macro lens is a manual lens. You adjust the focus and the aperture on the barrel of the lens. Now, this is a true macro. It will go to 1:1 magnification. Your shutter speed is controlled in your camera as always. And if you're looking for a way to learn manual exposure, this is pretty good medicine. One other neat feature of this lens, if you notice the red mounting index mark on the base of the lens, just beside that is a rectangular chrome tab, and that tab will allow this lens to shift vertically. So it's not a traditional tilt shift lens, but it does allow some degree of shifting, which is helpful if shooting tall, vertical, he said redundantly, subject matter. Because this is a 15 millimeter lens, it has a lot of depth of field, and it may surprise you how much you have in focus when compared to a macro lens of what may be considered more normal focal length, like a 50 or 85 or 105 or even the 150, especially the 150 Sigma that I also use in macro work. This wide angle macro lets me put this little plant growing in this tree's knothole sort of, I guess, in context. I can show the plant pretty close, but I can also frame it with the knothole in which it resides. Now, you can shoot macro outside when it's windy, but you won't be happy. It's difficult to find that narrow slice of depth of focus that keeps your subject crisp. And the winds have begun to blow mightily. So I've moved further inside the box. The whole shebang's now sitting in my house on a set I've concocted with a big pan reflector on an Alien Bees strobe setup and suitable fill cards, and I've concocted this background with different shadows and shapes and textures. The next 4 shots following this one will pretty much mimic this setup. You may see some slight differences in the angle and elevation of the light. You may notice some subtle differences in the background textures and shadows, but they're pretty much going to follow this model. For me, once I've accomplished the techno nerdy stuff that's inherent in being able to successfully achieve a macro photograph, I have to remember to compose. I have to remember the rules of composition And that's not always easy to come by once I've filled my head with all this depth of field and how far do I want that focus to extend and all that kind of stuff that's inherent in macro. So thinking inside the box, remember your composition in macro. It's often, for me, as I say, the hardest part. Thanks for being here with me again. I realize that some of you, most of you, well, truth be told, probably all of you have something better to do than sit there and watch my big fat face yak at you, but I appreciate you being here and looking at my work, and I hope you'll take the time to like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, whatever you're moved to do after you watch one of my efforts. And as always, I want you to know, I'll see you next week.
Some of the folks I know think this Rona-itis thing is germs from Jesus, punishing us because we've been bad. On the other hand, I think one day after work, some innocent guy in China drove his moped over to the fast food joint, ordered the rat, bat, and what's that platter, went home, ate, got up the next morning, sneezed on somebody, and the rest is history. Just one of those things. But I don't know.